All right, here we go. August 4th, 2016. Special thanks to our WCHE 1520 AM family. And you know what? Nephew Fred, he was on vacation. He's back. And working it like mad, like forever. And here we are, CCMC, Concerned Citizens Melanic Caucus. Don't get it twisted. We are the sponsored talk show addressing the issues, needs, and concerns of Melanics, and we're the informative and interactive roundtable which spurs engagement and inclusion of everyday people in the affairs and events which impact their lives and everyone's lives. And you know what? Today, relevance to matter. That's going to be my topic for today, and we're going to get into some things as we go into the show later on into it and all. With a lot of things that are going on, and there's some things that really need to be discussed. And I am your lead host, Everett T.J. Butcher, and with me, of course, our melodic inspiration and guru, none other than Dr. Io.
Hotep, peace and blessings, everyone.
And you know what? And then on my left-hand side, of course, as always, and will be there forever, Chef Adrian.
Hi there, guys.
That's my big sis. Okay. Hey, you know something? We're going to go through some things today, and but you know what? First of all, we have a special guest appearance introduction that we want to do coming in this morning, and I'm going to go right off the bat with it and all. And this is a young gentleman that we had the privilege of speaking with and seeing some of his works that he's been doing. And especially when it comes to the lives of what's going on ahead, we as Melanics and the plight of what we need to do to move forward, and with the current events that are going on. And sometimes we just need that mentorship, we need that guidance, we need that help in there, we need that support. And the guest that we have today, and I want we'll talk about it, think of this, it's called Master of Ceremonies, a Male's Guide for a Successful Life, okay? And of all times, with everything that's going on, especially within the Melanic community, especially in the black Melanic community, the male, his posture and what's going on, he needs help. We all need help in that regard. But this is a stepping stone for us, and we have a special guest going to be with us, and we're going to talk a few things. We're going to introduce him and talk about this resource, because this is just what it is a resource that we can use. And none other than the author is Jonathan C. Harris, and we're going to have him online with us. And in fact, here he is now. Hello, sir.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor and a blessing to be here among great people who are also concerned about making our community a better place.
Now, see, we like him already. I'm feeling better. He done brushed me up there.
Well, you know, I'm prejudiced because he works at my alma mater at Lincoln University here in Pennsylvania.
Lincoln University.
The Lincoln University. The first.
Where being first matters.
Yes, exactly.
See, there he goes, right in line. Here we go. Right. Relevance to matter. And in fact, you know, we can go through his bio, and you can just see the phenomenal work that he's doing. And as he said, he was born a leader. He was raised in Fort Washington, Maryland, and he served in leadership positions his entire life, from being a manager of the school store in elementary school to the president of the Homeless Awards Club, Awareness Club in middle school, to president of the National Honor Society in high school. Okay, yeah. So we're talking about an achiever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and during his time of studying statistics at the University of Delaware, he also served as a resident assistant freshman year, experienced peer mentor, and tour guide to help students feel at home. And I can see why already. You know, he makes people just feel at home. And in fact, you know, I was reading this. I was going through this book, and it's just phenomenal. Dr. Io and Chef, we're going to have our guest here. We're going to have him explain what really his intention, why he wanted to do this, and what spurred him to do so, and how the matter of relevance to this and all. And he's going to be able to answer back to the roundtable.
And before we do that, I want to let people know they can call in at 610-701-WCHE, which is 9243. Again, that's 610-701-WCHE. WCHE 9243. And I just want to give a little bit more because I think far too often I had this experience working with clients and they talk about being afraid to drive here and there through cities, Philadelphia or wherever. Mm-hmm. Their real statement is, I'm afraid to drive through the city because there are black people there who I'm afraid will pull me out of my car and harm me. And so it becomes very important that we start providing accurate information and that they get to hear about some of the things that our young black men are doing. And so I just want to share a little bit more of his biography real quickly. Jonathan currently works at Lincoln University, as we said, as a residence hall coordinator where he oversees 2 male residence halls. He's planned and presented at numerous seminars and conferences related to issues on college campuses. He's received several honors and awards, including High School Valedictorian, Dean's List, Residence Life's People's Choices Award, Residence Assistant of the Month, Kiwanis Club Citizen Award, Sigma Alpha Phi Excellence in Service to Student Award, and Jonathan recently launched his own business called Judicious Life, where he hosts community workshops, provides individual life coaching, and makes weekly inspirational videos called Words for Wednesday. He hosts his own weekly radio show called Thinking Out Loud, where he speaks on issues in the community. In his spare time, if you can believe he has any, really, come on now, tell the truth. He enjoys walking, reading, spending time with family and friends, mentoring students, volunteering in the community, and watching movies. For information about his book and book talks and author visits and workshops, you can contact him at jcharris726@gmail.com. Again, that's jcharris726@gmail.com. And for information regarding life coaching services, please visit him on judiciouslife.com.
Oh.
Welcome, Jonathan.
So
awesome. And only how old?
I just turned 26 last Tuesday.
So please,
happy
people.
Birthday.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday. And people, please stop talking about what you cannot do. Here's a young man who puts us all to shame with what he does.
Oh, goodness. I'm truly humbled. To talk a little bit about the book, it actually goes back to last June. I was out with my grandfather, and I ended up messing up my tire. I guess I ran over a nail or some sort. So we went to get some air in the tire, but I realized the tire still needed to be repaired. So after going to the auto mechanic shop, I had to fill out a form saying what I needed done. And I didn't know too much about cars at the time, so I actually checked off that I needed a tune-up. But anyone who semi-understands cars would know that a tune-up has nothing to do with a tire.
Right.
So when I got the bill back, it was about $280, and I was really only supposed to pay $60.
Oh, my God.
And I remember talking to my father about it, and he's like, why didn't you call anybody? And, at the time, I'm 24. I'm like, I'm a man. I can do this. And from that day on, I said, never again will I go without asking for help because I'm too prideful to speak up in an area of my life where I need more assistance. So then it made me think about other people who may have grown up in a disadvantaged situation, or even people who had everything, but they're still missing certain areas of their life where no one has really shown them. So I said, what if I created a book that kind of plugged all the gaps of a person's life where, dad never showed them how to tie a tie, or they never learned how to cook. If I could put these things in a book, then they won't feel as disadvantaged because this will be the substitute for those things. So I actually had a summer job last year. I was doing some part-time security work with my dad to earn a couple extra dollars to be able to pay for this, as well as some other projects. And it was essentially a very interesting experience because it required me to sit outside every day for 8 hours from 10 p.m. to 6 in the morning. No access to Wi-Fi or any technology. So I said, what can a person do for an 8-hour shift where they're outside sitting in a car watching a house? So I actually used that time to write the book. I sat at my post and I wrote chapter by chapter each day, edited it, and then during the days I would type it all up. So at the time I was trying to figure out which company should I go through to get this published, and my supervisor actually recommended Ex Libris, which ended up being the company. And at the time, they just so happened to have a 50% off sale on whatever the deal would cost. So if it cost $1,000, I would have only had to pay $5. So I actually got it done for half the price. So wow. I said, that's just perfect timing. Great. That when I wanted to write a book, this company also has a half off special on getting books published. So I went ahead, I paid the money, And I used the couple months after that to finish all editing, add a couple things, and before you know it, March 24th, it was physically sitting in my hands.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
You want to talk about innovation?
I'm interested in the cooking section.
And as Brother Harris was saying, I mean, the book covers so many different aspects of life, and it comes down to, as you know, as we say with our good friend Dr. George DeGroy, when we're talking about the value gap, and and esteem, and this is something that moves this along, and it gives us relevance, and that we do matter. Something, we're getting ready to go on break here and all, and I mean, I'm elated about this. I can't wait to see what the crew wants to bring back to the table on this as we come back to the subject.
I'm impressed with just the names of the chapters here.
Isn't that something? Yeah. And we're going to talk about that and come back. 610-701-WCHE. That's 9243. Don't get it twisted. We'll be back, and we're going to be back with our guest author and mentor and what is it, coach? I mean, you name it. He's there.
Man for all occasions.
There you go. Hey, don't get it twisted. We'll be right back.
Wait a minute.
During the trade-a-thon at Kia of Westchester and Kia of Coatesville, get a minimum $5,000 discount off any select new Kia in stock with any trade. New 2016 Kia Fortes are only $12,990, backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. And always remember, Jim Sapala wants to see ya in a Kia.
Discount includes all factory rebates, plus tax, title, and dock. Offers don't combine. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see retailer or go to kia.com. Expires month's end.
Yeah, it's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just going to keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WCHE 1520 AM, the best radio station in America. Wait, my check's gonna clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. The best station in America.
All right, we're back, and you know something, they asked me, how do we describe this gentleman? Well, actually, right there on the title.
His book says
Master Ceremony.
Master Ceremony.
We're back here with our author and with Jonathan C. Harris, and we were going through some of the different chapters, and with this reminded back, if you go to our Pinterest account. Concerned Citizens Milana Conquest has a Pinterest, and you'll see in our different areas we have contributions in the Milana contributions. And one of the things that is in there, you'll see back in 1936 there was a book that was called the Green Book, the Negro Green Book. And what it was a listing of businesses, places where you could stop, where you were able to get gas, where you were able to lodge, freedom, and for that reason, and it was a guide for resources that you needed. This is consummate of that happened in that day, and we see things that are needed like this today, especially in the time of economics and health, even with health, education, the guard.
Yeah, and how education funding has gone down, and how things like HUMAC, just civics and all that stuff's been cut out of the schools. So if the parents didn't really have that, it's hard for them to teach their kids.
Absolutely, and even working at university now, I work with first-year students, but I also have upperclassmen who sometimes can be as old as 25. I've even had them as old as 27 who still have not had all the resources they need to go out into the world. Just last semester, I had a young man, 19 years old, who had to have me help him fill out a mailing envelope. And it's really shifted my perspective, because when I first took the position, a lot of times you would think, how are you 18, 19, and you don't know how to do these things? But then you have to take a step back and go, well, at what point in your life were you ever shown? Or are we just assuming that you should have already known these things?
Because we know it.
Right.
That's another thing of privilege.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I love this, because so why does this matter? And then some people might say, okay, and we don't have this, I call it apparatus. We don't have the support in our educational systems as a whole. I see that in even our local school districts, in the public school system, especially the one where my son just graduated from. When it came to guidance counselors going to further their education, they were giving nothing.
Yeah, no help, no support.
Especially from the Milanic standpoint, and it was whatever. You should know this and all.
Yes.
And then the comeback was, if you had advocates to try to support for this, well, why are you giving them special attention? Why does this? Here we go back to why does it matter? What is the relevance of matter? And it's not to exclude other people. It's to actually acknowledge those that are there to make them inclusive. And again, I want to thank you. You were talking about a couple of the chapters that were really profound.
Yes. One of my favorites writing, and I think it's so important, job searching is one of the chapters, and it talks about the different aspects of getting a job, from writing the resume to writing a cover letter, and that's something I've noticed a lot of young adults tend to have difficulty with due to lack of experience in having to do so. But even salary negotiation is a big one. Some jobs, when you're a lot younger, they kind of, here's what you're going to be making. You have a more of an hourly rate. You may be working in fast food just to get some experience and some money. But as you climb higher in your profession, you at some point have the opportunity to choose your own salary. So it's important that you do research, and you also talk to other people and see, okay, for example, part of having a good benefits package may not also just be the salary, but it's flexible vacation, if you need extra time off to be with your family, if they're going to pay for you to go back to school. Those are also just as great benefits as them throwing on, let's say, another $5,000. But if you don't know to ask for those things, you wouldn't. And unfortunately, there are some people out here who will take advantage of you not knowing and hire you for $20,000 less than what you're actually worth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also good to do some research into the company you're applying to.
That's correct.
And also, you can Google anybody nowadays. So if somebody's going to be doing the interview with you, that's the person you want to Google, find out what they're about. And that helps you create more of a rapport during the interview.
Right.
And one of my favorite things, one of the things that I do at Lincoln University is I am the chair of the resident advisor selection process. So just to give you a quick background, RAs are student staff that work at the university, and they get their own room, and their job is to kind of serve as the big brother or big sister for the floor. Well, in my experience, a lot of times the younger students need assistance with some of those things, such as who to address the letter to, how it should be written, and all of that. But what many people don't know about the job search process is it's okay to decline a position if you don't feel as though it's a good fit. Some people can really want a job, or they really need one, and it can cause them to get themselves into a situation they do not like. But as you do your research, you may find, you know what, I don't really agree with this company's values. I don't really agree with how they do things. So let me find a company that works better for me, or better yet, you can become an entrepreneur and start your own company.
Awesome. That's my...
that's your call.
It is.
Right up that alley.
Start your own business. So that's why I'm so impressed with you starting your own businesses, plural, and writing a book.
And we're definitely going to have to get you back, and we really want to get in depth on some of these going on. But you know what? We have the summit coming up.
Yes.
September 31st, October 1st.
30th.
September 30th and October 1st, and these are some of the resources that we'll definitely have here. And I know that Brother Harris, he's going to be there, right?
Yes.
And that's great.
I already,
You already.
Yeah. When we were talking in the last talking off, but even more so now, even talking with him now and going over this is a must. Our listening audience, Master of Ceremonies.
How can they get the book? Should I put a link on the Facebook page?
Yes, please. I'm located on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram at the name Author John, and all of them have the links to the book. I'll definitely leave that here with all the radio show hosts so that they can have that information. as well as I actually just recently designed my own website, jonathanharris.com, which has all of my different projects and endeavors kind of under one umbrella. That way it's easier for people to find me as well as get in contact with me and look at some of the things that I've been doing. I did want to briefly talk about a couple upcoming projects. Sometime next year in early 2017, I'm designing my own software app where young adults will have different resources for fashion, dating, professionalism, as well as even hotlines if they need someone to talk to, let's say suicide, let's say it's something related to domestic violence. You will have all of that kind of under one umbrella. And I'm currently designing my own clothing line for motivational messages. So I want to design T-shirts that people can wear. It talks about different ways to keep you uplifted as well as your community uplifted. So even I'll have shirts for little girls saying, no man is worth my education. I'll have shirts for people who have re-enrolled in school to show them, you know, I am 60 and I am working on my degree, but I'm making progress towards something.
Nice. Excellent. And also, even though the title of the book is Master of Ceremonies, A Male's Guide for a Successful Life, there is absolutely nothing in here that really does, except maybe tying a tie, that can't be used for women too.
But women wear ties too.
Absolutely.
So everything can be used by women.
One of the big things that I have learned is that, believe it or not, many of parents and grandparents have bought this book for their daughters. And that's been a recent trend that I've been seeing. A couple of people have sent me text messages, emails, and all just different things. When are you going to put something out for the females? And it was one of the most interesting concepts because some people have been very upset at me. Some feel as though I made a very terrible career mistake making something just for the men. But how I saw it was that our guys need a lot of help from things going on in the society as well as just how men are developed in general. And even though, yes, there are resources out there for males and females together, but when I did my research, there were not a lot of resources out there for young men specifically. And one of the things that I want to inspire entrepreneurs and any other future writers is that if you have a passion, a purpose, and a target audience, even though, yes, it's great to get advice from other people, but don't let anyone change your vision and your direction. When I first started this, the goal was to put something out there for the young guys. And
you're in a resident hall, you're in a dorm, and that's who you were dealing with, so that's who you were targeting.
Absolutely.
Which makes sense. But, you know, just know that women can use this too.
Absolutely.
Just because it says male doesn't mean that women can't use it. But I understand exactly.
That might be a better reason to read it because
Right.
it says men. Because women need to understand things from a male perspective, just like males need to understand things from a female perspective.
I agree 100%.
After all, I went to Lincoln, which used to be an all-male school.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh, look out, Steve Harvey. Someone else is giving the secrets away. But you know something? Hey, we are so glad to have you here on the show today.
Thank you so much.
You know, and as we said, we have a minute or so before break here. So we definitely, this is something that we really need to get up on the website. And so we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing your website.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be able to put it on our site to get reference back in there.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for events coming up in the near future, and this is something to watch out for. I'm really elated about this, and thank you for your hard work and service that you're doing through here. One question I want to ask just before we go on a break in there. From your perspective, with your book, and we use Melanics, and we say people of color.
Yes.
Has this taken in within that setting with the Melanics, or is it going across cultures also?
It has been mostly with Melanics. A lot of my book signings, I'm currently on a 12-city book tour where I've traveled between 5 different states to speak to different audiences as well as just sell the books in general. And most of my supporters have been Melanics. I've had a lot of success specifically working with the mothers, grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, uncles, and more so the parent group and the grandparent group to actually buy this for their students to read. So a lot of people have been very proud to see that someone of a melodic background has actually produced a book, especially in a time like this in our society. So that has caused people to want to support me and even invite me out to future things because the representation has been lacking recently.
Now, how about your age? That's the other
and the age. And that's what I was going to ask. On the other side of the table, the non-melodics, what are some of the feedback that you've gotten? What are some of the feedback that you've
overall, I would say it's still been very positive. I know that sometimes a barrier that you meet is when they see your face associated with the book, the automatic assumption without it being on the cover or in the title is that this book is for melonics, but a lot of the information is universal. Now, sure, being melonic myself, some of the experiences are going to be specific to myself or people similar to me, but overall things such as being a respectful gentleman is a universal thing that we ask of all people. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that. We're going to go to a break, and hopefully, as we go into the next segment, we're going to be in the roundtable. And I know there's some deep discussion that we're going to bring up because we're going to talk about the relevance to matter, and that very point, some of the points that you brought up there will be addressed in there. 610-701. WCHE, that's 9243. Be able to call back here, everyone. Don't get it twisted. And we'll be back with the roundtable and the crew, and we're going to be really getting into some things there. So don't go away. Tell a friend. Come on back.
There's a new epidemic in the United States. It kills between 40,000 and 90,000 Americans each year, according to the National Academy of Sciences. Can doctors and hospitals cure it? No. In fact, the medical community is the cause. The epidemic is called medical negligence. I'm Steve Karp from the Chester County law firm of Karp & Hart. My firm is one of only a few in Chester County which handles medical malpractice cases. I've been practicing in the field of medical malpractice law for over 30 years. If you or someone in your family have been a victim of medical negligence by a doctor or hospital, you might want to give us a call. There's no charge for us to review your medical records. A fee is paid only if we are successful in winning your case. My number is 610-430-2200. Ask for me, Steve Karp, or my partner, Peter Hart. That's 610-430-2200. And don't forget to join me and Peter every Tuesday at noon for Legal Talk right here on WCHE.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
What is everyone talking about in Chester County? Find out on the news at noon here on 1520 WCHE.
Hey, we're back. We are back. Listen, www.dgit Twisted. DGI-Twisted.com. That's Facebook place. You can go to our website. You can see everything's coming up. And listen, I want to put this out there because we are looking for engagement. We're looking for people to get involved. We're going to step up our game on here. That was yesterday.
Tuesday? It was Tuesday.
Tuesday that Chef Adrian had her
my Facebook Live event,
which was named
Defining Racism Because Words Matter.
And what we had was 80 some.
I don't know. It's over 250
now.
views
It's over
now.
200 views.
Wow, awesome!
But there was an interaction that was dynamic. If you went to my not only the Facebook pages and all, we just put out. We said beyond respect of the melodic, it is to know and understand the full measure of our value and the place of all humanity. It's at that time the society, especially here in the United States of America, and more specifically to those elected and those seeking election or wanting to stay in those prospective positions, they need to adhere, recant to the business as usual, and if not, and they can't do so, be prepared to be removed, because and that is to be inclusive of all, and it's not based on partisanship. It's regardless of partisanship. And with everything that's been going on, we turn back from the conventions, the RNC and DNC conventions and all, with the plight of just the climate of everything that's transpiring. What this has done in this whole Trump situation, it has brought to light that people they're showing themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's things that we've known and already know as melanics and disparities. And in fact, Chef, you posted a posting last night, shared it, of a young gentleman that was stopped in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Someone shared it on my timeline.
And I am so,
what happened?
We have a in fact, we have a brochure we're sending out now saying what you do if you're stopped by the police, how to act, react. It's almost consummate to our author, his guide, book, on a how-to there. And it was disparity to see this, but yet I was so enlightened to the need for this, that this young gentleman, he had everything he needed, all documentation, but the good thing about it, he knew the law, and that was his saving grace in that sense. It could have gone very much awry, much awry.
And he called for backup. He called for police backup to get another officer in, so that it would be someone else that he could talk to. And it was 45 minutes of his time, because he had earphones in while he was driving. And where that can be dangerous, I know if I was stopped for having earphones in, the officer would have brought it to my attention that you might not be able to hear a siren behind you or a car behind you. Don't do that, and give me a warning, and I would have gone on my merry way.
But here's the other thing about this, and you saw the inconsistencies, because initially when he was stopped, not because of the earphones, it was because the police officer said because you got tinted windows.
No,
Did you catch that? Yes.
The tinted windows.
The tinted windows portion. But here's the thing.
Windows were rolled down.
But here's the point I was getting at. Here's where the disparity. And see, here's those things that where cognitive dissonance comes in, and when you don't think, and these are the kind of things as a melanics, we understand and think, and we know what's going on underneath, and the undertones that we're saying. The inconsistency was that it was because of tinted windows, but ultimately he got charged at the end for what?
The earphones
on. Now, how can you see earphones on if you have tinted windows? That's a disparity. And this young gentleman caught on to this, so he knew there was an underlying agenda. And then the policeman checked his car out as far as running tags, running his paperwork, credentials, they're all online. He handed it back to him. And so the gentleman took his things back, and so this policeman wasn't satisfied, so he wanted to take a step farther. Now he wanted to search his car.
Get out of your car.
And the young gentleman was within his rights, said, you have no reason.
Yeah, well, his paperwork was in order. There was nothing that he did wrong, except driving through central Pennsylvania.
And we said all this. This just came to relevance, and now this goes back to Adrian. The what do you want to call it? I call it a webinar. To me, it was a webinar. And with the
because I feel that before we can really have substantive conversations, we all have to be speaking the same language, and that's what this was about. This was about learning terms so that when we speak about these terms, we all have the same language, we're all on the same page, and we don't have to interrupt a meaningful or productive conversation with starting, well, there's reverse racism, there's this, there's that, and what do you mean I have white privilege? I'm not wealthy. So if we get all that out of the way to say that white privilege has nothing to do with wealth, it has to do with the fact that something's not affecting us, so we close our eyes to the fact that it's affecting anyone else, and we have that privilege to close our eyes to it. And you addressed that also, Jonathan.
And still benefit at the same time.
Right. So you have a benefit of not having that stress on you, that anxiety of knowing that if I go in for a job and I don't get it, I know it might be it was a personality fit or whatever, but it wasn't because of the color of my skin.
Right.
And which leads this, and just before this, the day prior to this, Adrienne also spoke before the Board of Commissioners.
Oh yeah,
and it was something. We got down there and the agenda got prolonged, but I said I want to stay here anyhow. So we got to be there, and I was with. How many members are on that commission?
14, 17.
Right. And so as we're sitting there, I was sitting there with Chef Adrienne, and we're looking, and you get some eyes, you know, as Melanics when you come in there, we have the old adage that we use. And listen, people, I'm just going to get raw with it. Hey, so what? Right over there. When you see they only fly in the milk can, so you know where I'm coming from. The analogy.
Well, one of the commissioners is what?
Well, yeah, it was a Melanic, but then it's sitting there. So you see all eyes upon, and so as Adrienne was sitting there, and apparently Chef Adrienne is well known. So they're looking at direction now. Who's that with them? And you saw the demeanor and how the way they were expressing verbally and non-verbally, and they're trying to be cordial in there because they not quite.
I wasn't quite cordial.
And Adrienne had to speak on a couple of things, one on the piece, and I thought it went very well what she said. And I videotaped the whole commission, and the tape you can't hear the audio, but to see.
To watch the body language.
The body language. And I want to post it. You can already say what's going on. And it so happened I had to leave early because the train was set to going on. And that's when Chef, you let me know that more or less when I was gone, you got the riot act.
Yeah, I got the riot act from 2 out of the 3 commissioners that addressed me. And the point that I was trying to prove in my comments was, even though they say they want Lower Merion to be the best at this and that, and that's why it's taking, they have this whole extended procedure to do certain things, they don't seem to want to be they thought I was punishing them for asking them to excel in the area of race and knowledge about race. And the one commissioner said to me something to the extent, "Oh, you would crawl under the carpet if you knew my history and all this." But then he exhibited every single the definition
indicator
of every single indicator of white fragility.
Yep. But see, this is so consummate,
including leaving the room.
And this is we just have a current event just happened right now, and they're talking about, especially with not to get on to this with the Trump thing, because it is what it is. To be realistic, but I'm listening to some other things. That's like with the David Dukes thing, when David Dukes ran, and the Republicans just wanted to run away from him, and it didn't really work because he ended up got into the legislative seat. But then when he ran for governor, then they did the same thing again and got out of him. Oh, he's so changed. Now he's back on the scene again, but this time he thinks he could ride the wave of the Trump regard and how this goes in there. And that's so consummate that because it can flip-flop to whatever advantage they want. And that's what the privilege has. And this is something that we as Melanics, we don't have that luxury.
I wouldn't quite call a board of commissioners in the same even in the same state.
But see, here's what I would say to that, Adrienne, and I understand. And then I guess we're at the round table, we're in discussion. Dr. I asked me what you think about this. When I say, I understand what you're saying from there. But that's almost like if you want to take it and not take it in theological terms, there's the big sin, little sin. There's right, wrong, little wrong. There's a lie and there's a white lie. Well, a lie is a lie.
Right, but the fact that even people would say there's a white lie versus a black lie is an issue because there's that implied, once again, that black is bad and that white is good. And that dichotomous thinking is what we're talking about, is that they feel that if they're not wearing a hood, they can't be doing any harm to people. And so what they have to understand...
And that's what I was trying to explain to them.
Exactly, but they don't get it because they see the more blatant racist as the racist. They see themselves as simply concerned citizens who just want to live in a safe, happy community and who are fearful of black people because black people are the ones who commit all the crimes, even though that's not accurate. But that is the spin. That's the propaganda that makes people feel afraid. And so we have to challenge that with facts and with young people such as Mr. Harris. Yeah, so that we can turn that around. But that's our job. That's not their job.
I think one way to really get students and people off to a good note at an early age is to begin to redesign your curriculums in your K through 12 school systems, because let's go back to history class and government class. The excuse for why certain things are left out and why certain things are expanded upon more is, well, you can't fit everything into 1 year. But again, in the K through 12, you're talking 13 years in a public school system, and still year after year, it's not ever talked about. So I'll give you maybe 9th grade, we didn't get to it, but 10th, 11th, and 12th, at that point, it wasn't a mistake anymore. It was planned. And I think one way that we as Melonics can solve that is that we continue to be a part of the representation. So even looking with the police officers, even though we may not be police officers ourselves, but let's see if we can start sitting on those selection boards and looking at their selection criteria and how it is that they even promote people. I mean, they all start as officers and then one day they're chiefs or captains or sergeants and corporals. But if they come into those officer positions and those cadet positions with a racist mindset, why are we promoting them to train others on how to be bad police officers or bad politicians? Maybe, we can shift that by kind of stepping in and saying, as this committee who deals with now promoting, let's say, an officer to a corporal, we felt as though even though the work may be good, the community relation is not there, and even some signs of racism are showing. So, no, we do not want this person in a higher position than what they already have.
And they can be evaluated by psychologists, especially a black psychologist.
But I really feel our police department in Lower Merion is making strides towards that. They're committed
Thanks to you.
Well, no, there's a whole bunch of people. I might be a little more visible, but it's mostly everyone else. It's not me. And but I think they're making strides. They're committed to community policing. They're working on. The commissioners are working on getting a consultant out, and I did recommend that the consultant also do the Board of Commissioners, but that was...
Oh, no, we can't have that.
But, but I really feel that, I was just trying to instruct them a little bit and bring out where they don't have knowledge, and of course it's not all of them, but it's some of them. And we're coming up on break now. And
610-701 WCHE 9243. And when we come back, you know what? We're going to bring back, and we're going to step off the stool a little bit. We're going to put the heat underneath the stool a little bit more, and we're going to let Chef do some of the stirring. How's that? So we got a little something coming there. Hey, don't get it twisted. Be right back.
If you had to choose a roofer, would you choose one with limited experience and knowledge, or would you choose a roofer certified as a master elite contractor by the largest manufacturer in the nation, GAF, a distinction shared by only 3% of the nation's roofers? I'm talking about GP Martini Roofing, who also does siding, windows, doors, and offers an ironclad guarantee that he'll repair or replace any roof for defects within its normal life. GP Martini services Chester, Delaware, Bucks, and Montgomery counties with free estimates and consultation, and does both commercial and residential. Go to their website at martiniroofing.com for special savings, or call 610-873-1696. And also, financing is available with no payments for a full year. Now, what roofer would you call? GP Martini is the answer. 610-873-1696.
Once upon a time, in a not-so-distant suburb, a handyman set out to put up a mailbox. The new cottage owners were anxious to get everything ready for their wicked step-parents' visit. Once, twice, thrice he drilled, and as he dug, sparks began to fly, and the village went dark. The moral: to avoid a grim situation, always call 811 before you dig. Learn more at call811.com.
From Westchester to Coatesville, From Kennett to Chester Springs, from Parksburg to Paoli, this is your home for all things Chester County. WCHE 1520 AM, the talk of Chester County.
Hey, we're back. You know something? Today we were talking about relevance to matter, and we were in discussion right even before we come on the air. With the climate and everything that's going on, especially we were talking about with the Trump situation. Of course, we know about the situation that we brought on the Gold Star family, who happened to be Muslim. And with that whole regard, and then now lately, the next thing was that Trump took a Purple Heart from a soldier.
It's much easier to get him that way.
Yeah, he always wanted one. You know? And this is just so far out base and so far assumption. But then when you take this into the matters of what's going on in hand, especially, and I want to get this, not to go off on this, because I'm gearing to a line, because we were discussing this, and this is something, and hey, listen, like I said, things are subject to change. We were really wanting to get into the next part of this topic, but I'm really thinking that I want to move this, if it's okay with the crew, we're going to move it to next week, and we're going to follow up on it. Is that okay?
I think we need more than 8 minutes.
But here's what I want to allude to. Something about this race, the whole politics of it all, and with the climate of what's going on with society as a whole. They're saying they're picking the better of two evils, be it Trump,
lesser of two evils,
or the better or lesser of two evils, be it Trump or Hillary Clinton. Okay, that's the justification. My question would be this. What if one of the candidates, one or both, or let's put it that way, would it be the same thing, the lesser two evils? Let's say if Hillary was a Melanic. I don't think so.
Or if she was a man.
It would be a blatant, let's make him into a male. But say if it was a male that was a Melanic, would it be the same? It wouldn't be I don't really believe in my heart that it would be the lesser of two evils. It would be blatantly, this is right, this is wrong. And that's where that cognitive dissonance comes in there. Just as in the same, I saw an article when they were talking about even with how they came down on Michelle Obama. You know, how she was so disregarded because she wore bare-shouldered
dress. Yes, sleeveless dress.
And how outrageous that was. But they don't mention the fact that she is the mother of 2 children by the same dad. Trump's kids are from all different mothers. But then the analogy is that the black persona, the black female, she's angry, don't have no husband, don't want no husband, and has nothing but kids.
Welfare moms.
Yeah. But yet on the other side, if you flip it, when you see it is non-Melanics, well, that's a happy circumstance. That's an individual doing that. So he's never seen as that.
That represents the whole ethnic group.
But yet, if it's one individual that's a Melanic, it's all the Melanics are like that.
Right.
And see, so then when we come into this, and this where it comes in there, and then the big thing is the Black Lives Matter. It's very big, bigger than everything. But the Black Lives Matter is a movement, and within that movement, there's some. How do you want to call it, Dr. Ayo? There are some underlying issues within there that should be universal for what it is. And I say consummate to even we've talked about this a lot with the Black Panthers and what they were about, and with the kindergarten and preschool.
And free lunches.
And those were programs that were enacted that they did. And not only that, they also lined up with other organizations that were in protest of some things, and they weren't black organizations. But that is never shared, that is never told.
Right.
They never wanted to see that, hey, universally, people have the same mindset.
Right.
So people are stigmatized into an area even when they're in inclusively. So you can never be a true you are partial.
It's all about division.
Yeah, absolutely.
Division within division. When does it
divide and conquer?
So we're going to bring up, yes.
I was going to say what makes it even worse is when you look at your entertainment industry, when you look at your musicians and different things like that, where does the funding come from for certain types of songs versus others? So, for example, you may have a rapper out here who wants to sing more of an inspirational tune, and his thing talks about uplifting the community. He or she is less likely to be signed by a major label because now that major label is funding positivity of our community, whereas someone who's saying beat up your girlfriend, shoot your neighbor, do these different things that tears us down, they're the ones who are going to get the front row seat at the Grammys. These are the ones who are winning the Grammys and these different hot platforms, even your TV shows and your different things like that. So the question becomes, as Melonics, knowing what we know, can we make any adjustments to send out more positive messages? And if the major investors are not funding us, what can we do to fund ourselves so that we can still get that information out there?
I love that.
That's the key.
And building alliances, true alliances, across the board. That it's not where it's what is expedient, or what is politically right, or what is to my best interest. No, but for the reality, what it is. I love how you brought that up there. And when we're breaking that in with the division within division,
that's a great example.
And then I want to take it across, and it's going to get rough, I guess. I'm going to talk to the crew afterwards and let you all know. So we're almost having a prompter meeting on the air over this and all, because then we're going to also step into some of the other hard pressed issues, and that's going to be from the theological mindset, from the ethics and morals of what we're thinking from there, because there are some dynamics in that interplay in this. And I'm going to use this as an example, and I want to use a relationship that has been pushed aside and not really looked upon. And when you really think of it and then take it across the board, that was with Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell was Jewish.
And Muhammad Ali was Muslim.
But yet shared and celebrated by the country as a whole.
And they were friends.
After their accolades of success. Here we go, right here. The guys of success. But then underneath, they don't want that true relationship and what that meant to have that there. This is something that if you can, I would ask people to look at this. Check out on YouTube. You're going to see a testimony from Howard Cosell on Muhammad Ali's 50th birthday. And you're going to see Howard Cosell actually break down for his love and the things that he brings out there. And this is what we're going to bring back to the table on relevance to matter. And then we're going to get to the plight over there. What does it mean Black Lives Matter? Really, what does it mean? What does it mean to matter? That why do we concentrate in one area? Is it overstepping? We're going to even get into the supposed myth of reverse racism in that sense. And let's get to what it's really, really all about. And then come to grips with it is. I know that I'm taking you down on a tangent there, but don't get it twisted. It's all going to come relevant.
Right. And I just wanted to respond to Mr. Harris that when you're talking about what can we do, how do we do it, the answer is very simple. People need to spend money with people who are doing what they respect and love. And if we're spending money with people such as you buying your book instead of buying the CDs of the people who are supporting violent kinds of behaviors, then the money moves from there. If they see everybody supporting your book, supporting your videos, supporting your music, then the money will follow it because they want the money. But the reality is they try to create a need for the opposite because they want to maintain the chaos and the problems that exist because they make money off of it. The prison system is a major big business, and of course the biggest piece of property in that big business has been the black body. And so what they want to do is keep black people engaged in behaviors that will result in them being placed in a prison system.
I agree 100%. You know, working with younger melonics, one of the biggest things I always tell them, and it's unfortunate that I even have to say this, but as a younger person who's coming into the world, sometimes in some industries, there's more money in you failing than there is in you succeeding.
Yes, absolutely.
And with that, we're getting ready. I want to play this as we go. So we're going to get ready to sign off now. Everybody, come on back next week. And don't get it twisted. And think of this, and we're going to leave you with this as we come back.